All right. So, hi everyone. Very good evening to all of you. I hope everyone is good. Okay, so this is another session of our daily PIB where we take into consideration 4 to 5 news every day and we try to solve it together, right? Okay, so just like our everyday session, today also we are going to take into consideration 4 to 5 news only. This is 9th of January 2026, and the first news that we are going to decode talks about that recently Dharmendra Pradhan has released 55 literacy works and Indian classical languages, right? Sorry. Now, when I talk about these 55 literacy works which have been done in the classical Indian languages, this has been specifically done to preserve them, right? So, preserving them doesn't mean that preserving them in books only, but preserving them in such a way that everyone gets use of it, right? I want scholars, I want other individual, I want students to have an access of these classical Indian languages. So, it promotes that. Next news says that Indian Railways has electrified about 99.2 percentage of its network, which is a sort of success for India. Again, telling you one question or one kind of question in phase one can be asked related to it, because it clearly talks about electrification here, and we are the second one. When I talk about the electrification part. Third news says that Niti Aayog has recently launched fifth edition of Trade Watch Quarterly. Now, when I talk about Trade Watch here, it clearly talks about watching it very correctly. That where is my trade going? Is my exports increasing than imports? Is my imports increasing than exports? And if this is the case, then in which sector specifically, right? So it tries to analyze performance of various sectors. It actually tries to analyze performance of various of the sectors, just to get to know that how my Indian economy is actually working, how my external sector is actually working. Next news says this is associated with AI, right? So for example, you get a question on AI, for say maybe in descriptive part, maybe as a direct question also. If they ask you direct question, then of course nothing, like it is all sorted, right? You are actually not in need of anything more. If that is direct question, then you need to just remember the facts here, which I'm going to tell you in the coming slides. But if you get a question related to like AI, or maybe specifically AI associated with education for say, you can mention this as an example there, because Simply Learn has joined India AI mission just to accelerate AI literacy, right? Hi Arjun, very good evening. Hi Jai Hind, very good evening. All right. So next news says that Federal Bank has unveiled fresh brand identity, the Fortuna Wave. So we'll be talking about its features, we'll be talking about its logo and everything associated with it, right? Okay. So for all of the new joinees here, this is the link of my Telegram channel, which is Economy with Payal. So every new joinee, like clearly telling you here, I share articles, like I share editorials which are important from the examination perspective. Along with that, I keep on sharing timings and PDFs of the sessions as well. So if you want, you can join it. This is Economy with Payal. All right. So the first news clearly talks about that Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan has actually released how many languages or how many literacy works here, that is 55 literacy works, and that too in the classical Indian languages only. Now when I talk about the classical Indian languages here, this is the first one is about preserving them, right? But when I talk about preserving them, along with that, it clearly says कि see, when I talk about these books here, या फिर जब मैं 55 scholarly works की बात करती हूँ, because works here include books as well as digital content also, because this is not something which is a kind of experimentation which is done or maybe something else. 55 scholarly works clearly includes books and digital content availability as well. Now this clearly says, now when I talk about books and maybe digital content, they're not specifically restricted towards books only, towards being books only, but rather they clearly say this is high academic kind of work which is going to be used in Indian, like as India's, which is going to represent what, that is India's classical languages here. I do not want to make them stick like in books only. I do not want to make them stick in libraries only, in the old libraries. Maybe like I do not want them to be such books which is sticking in the library only, which is staying in the library only, and of course like they are fulfilled with the dust and no one is reading them. I do not want them to be such books. Rather, this is what I want to make them in such a way that ancient heritage should reach out to everyone, right? I want to ensure that ancient heritage actually reaches out to everyone here. That is the reason this is the key focus of this particular work, right? Again telling you, the work is actually focused on 5 primary classical languages, also plus we are having additional features for hearily impaired students as well. So this is something which has been done here. In the coming slides, I'll tell you what are those 5 primary classical languages, and accordingly how many books are associated with it, right? So I hope that you got a clarity here. I do not want them to just stick, or I do not want them to stay in the old libraries only. I want their access should be given to each and every possible individual here. So it clearly says that there is a release of 55 scholarly literacy works in classical Indian languages, and which is trying to promote what that is linguistic heritage and inclusive access to classical knowledge also. Everyone should be able to access this. Along with that, it all talks about preservation, but I do not want them to preserve in any of a sanduk, या फिर I do not want to preserve them in old libraries. I want their access to each and everyone so that people also learn about it, right? Okay, so how many languages are covered here? I broadly told you that majorly, like it includes 5 languages. It includes 5 languages, right? And along with that, facilities have been made available in the like Indian sign languages also for the visually impaired students, right? So Tamil, Kannada, Telugu, Malayalam, Odia, and Indian sign language is also part of it. So sign languages plus visually impaired. Plus visually impaired, right? Just wait a minute. Just wait a minute. Alright, so I hope you got a clarity here, right? I hope you got a clarity here. It all talks about Tamil, Kannada, as in 5 languages, plus visually impaired here. So this is what it all talks about. Along with that, this talks about composition of literacy works as well. Now, when I talk about the composition here, the total works are 55, and that too includes 41 books. That includes by Central Institute of Indian Languages, CIIL, Mysuru, 41 books. Languages that are included here includes classical Kannada, Telugu, Malayalam, as well as Odia also. Along with that, by Central Institute of Classical Tamil, Chennai, this includes 13 books. The focus has been on classical Tamil and Tirukural as well. Additional component has been Tirukural sign language series. So what I told you, 5 languages majorly. Along with that, Indian, or when I specifically talk about visually impaired students, are also part of it. Not students, but generally I'm talking about the people here, right? So this classification and this additional thing is actually very important, from the general understanding here, right? So again, telling you, these 41 books were actually created by CIIL in Mysuru only. Along with that, I've told you about these Tamil associated books also, which are 13 books, which is actually released by CICT Chennai itself. And I've told you about Tirukural as well, a famous Tamil book on ethics itself. And this talks about Indian sign language here, right? So these are the things which are associated with it. This slide is super, super important here. Along with that, this is about the notable publication that has been released recently. We are having Madalapanji is the one which is, which is actually translated into Hindi as well as English also. These are the translators here. And then we are having, Rudra Sudha Nidhi is also the one where the translation has been done in English only. These are the translators here. Shilpa Shabdavali is also the one, and Charyapada is also the one, right? So these are the translators here. Again, this majorly talks about this particular thing here, right? So like when I talk about, when I specifically talk about this work that has been done, it clearly says that I do not want to keep colonial kind of mindset in my mind, right? For a long time, when I talk about the higher education was actually only available in English only, right? I do not want them to stick to English only. Rather, I want to bring professional courses into Indian languages also. I want to promote my own languages as well. So again, this has already been part of national education policy. So yes, we are focusing on it. So what it includes there, its inclusion has been very, very comprehensive in nature. It includes sign languages also. So it means education is already there, but that education is actually very comprehensive in nature. It is actually very inclusive in nature. And the idea is very crystal clear in nature. If I want to become Viksit Bharat by 2047, I need to ensure that I focus on my own things as well. I just do not want to stick to the colonial mindset only. I do not want that everything, of course, English is just one language just for communication purpose itself, right? But I need to promote other languages also. So this is what is the criteria that has been set here, right? Now, what do you think, like when I talk about the, significance here, why it has been done? So these are the 3 things which actually plays a huge, huge important role. I want to make education very inclusive in manner, because what is education? It is all about knowledge only, right? So for example, I am actually like dictating, or maybe I'm actually like decoding this news for all of you, right? Now we are having many students who actually understand English. So the purpose is actually making, or the purpose is actually delivery only, right? I want you people to communicate very correctly. I want you people to like decode it very correctly. I want you people to understand it very correctly, and that is the part that I'm doing here, right? So it is all about communication only, that how you're reaching out to people, because maximum people, or when I talk about the translating here or maybe decoding part here, it is all about communication itself. So Thirukkural sign language series, the format has been 45 episodes, Indian sign language interpretation series only. The original author has been Thiruvalluvar here. The themes that are covered here includes ethics, governance, economy, and love as well. The objective is actually very crystal clear in nature. This is inclusive education, access for persons with hearing disabilities as well, right? So this is what is part of it. Now these are the institutions involved here. What I told you, CIIL Mysuru Karnataka is part of it, CICT Chennai Tamil Nadu is part of it, and along with that, this is the mandate for Indian Sign Languages also. Okay, all right. So now is the policy alignment. What I told you, that since it is already part of national education policy, it is actually very important for me to align it here, right? And to align it very correctly, I need to align it with the Indian languages also. I do not want to stick to English only. ऐसा नहीं है कि we are actually like we are not at all focusing on English. This is not the case. Along with that, we need to focus on other languages also. This is what we are clearly saying here, right? So what are the ongoing linguistic reforms? Development of professional courses in engineering, law, medicine is already there. Medium has been Indian languages in multiple ways. So it means that it is all about understanding the concept only. If you're able to understand it maybe in any other language, then also it is okay, right? The main part is just understanding it only. So this is what is getting promoted now. All right. So these are the recognized Indian, classic languages here: Tamil, Sanskrit, Kannada, Telugu, Malayalam, Odia, and we are having additional ones as well, which includes Marathi, Pali, Prakrit, Assamese, as well as Bengali also. So these are the classical languages, recognized classical languages here. Okay. I hope you understood about it. All right. Next news says that Indian Railways electrified about 99.2% of its network. Again telling you, direct question can be asked in phase 1. They can ask you that how much of electrification has been done when I talk about the Indian Railways here. Because the electrification in itself is actually very important in nature, and this makes India stand at a next level also, right? Because we are the one, very few countries are the one where proper electrification has been done. So this clearly says that India is actually, or Indian Railways is actually on the verge of becoming 100% green network. And when I talk about network in general also, it's a huge kind of web, right? Where there are a lot of tracks crossing each other. It's a lot of web, and it is actually very tough for us to decode as well. So it's a big achievement. Actually, it's a big achievement for India, because this clearly says that the 99.2% of mark has been achieved by India here, right? So this is all about electrification, which clearly says that we are becoming green. We've actually made green networks also. So this is all about a kind of wire system only. So we'll be talking about data in the coming slides. You can clearly see the network that has been electrified. Okay. Along with that, it talks about shifting into the solar energy as well. So we'll be talking about it in the coming slides only. Network that has been electrified includes 99.2%. Electrified length is 69,427 route kilometers here, and clearly see it. And the total broad gauge network includes 70,001 route kilometers here. Along with that, the period of major expansion has been right from 2014 till 2025. So you can clearly see that in this particular period only 46,900 and route kilometers have been electrified, and that too within this particular time period only, right? It makes India stand at a global perspective also. The mission is actually very crystal clear in nature. I want 100% of electrification, right? Because I want to transition. I do not want my dependence on diesel only. I want to transform into clean energy. I want to transform into electrical one. So now we are using, or now we are getting dependent on the solar electrification also. We are having solar dependency also. So we'll be talking about it in the coming slides, but it clearly says I do not want to be dependent on the diesel only. I want to make transition here, and I want to be dependent on the specifically when I talk about the electric transaction traction here, I want that only, right? I want to transition into clean energy here. Outcomes क्या होंगे? सबसे पहले तो faster operations होंगे. Along with that, we'll be walking into, or we'll be like focusing into what, that is energy efficiency only. Along with that, environmentally sustainable transport backbone will also be achieved. So this is space of electrification here. When I talk about average rate of it, right from 2004 till 2014, it is 1.4 kilometers per day. Average rate as per 2019 to 2025, this is over 15 kilometers per day. And this is about the growth here. Growth in electrified share. This clearly talks about 24% in 2000, 40% in 2017, and over 96% by 31st of December 2024. And accordingly, now we've achieved the, like, we are actually, like, soon we'll be achieving the 100% of criteria also. We become 99.2% by November 2025. And of course, we'll be, like, achieving our objective also, broader objective, that is 100% of electrification. Now, this is all on the basis of state-wise electrification status. This says that how many states and UTs are actually fully electrified. This includes 25 states, and electrification are pending in 5 states here. This says Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Assam, and Goa. Here only, like, electrification is pending. Otherwise, 25 states are the one where electrification has been fully done. And this is about the residual network also, right? So this says 574. The total network, the share of total network is just 0.8% only. And this is the global comparison. Why I told you it's a very, it's a kind of success story for India here. Because we are standing with the, like, when I specifically talk about the nations which are actually very strongest in nature, right? We have compared the speed also. I told you about the case of 2004 to 14, and of course 19 to 25 also. We compared our speed at that time, right, in the previous slides here. Now a comparison has been done, sort of comparison has been done with the other countries also. So clearly telling, you can clearly see India is standing at 99.2%. This is the second stage here, right? Clear-cut comparison has been made by China, with China, Japan, and maybe France also. But remember, the first one where 100% of electrification has been done is Switzerland. So Switzerland is the one where there is a complete 100% of electrification, and of course followed by India, and then we are having China. Then we are having Japan, France as well, right? So it is rightly clear, mentioned in your screen itself. This clearly says China is 82%, France 60%, Russia 52%, and UK is 39%, but 100% is there in where? That is Switzerland only, right? So this is important. Okay, so you can clearly see international context. If I talk about UIC report June 2025, this clearly says in Switzerland 100% of electrification has been done. Japan, China may, of course, 82%, but then comes India also, right? Then comes India as well, where we are standing at 99.2%. Again, you need to, like, put your focus here, because again telling you, direct question can be asked in phase 1. That is the reason I'm clearly saying that. Okay, all right. So it clearly see that this is just not about electrification only, but now we are shifting our focus towards the solarization part as well, right? So we are not sticking towards electrification only. We want it to be solarized also, which is powered by the sun. The railways isn't actually, like, when I talk about the railways here, they are actually not using regularly or on a regular basis electricity here. It is actually moving towards the solar power as well. So this is all, this slide talks all about the solar power only. It clearly says that in 2014 itself, the railways had almost zero solar power, but now in November itself, it clearly says we are standing at 898 megawatt here, which is of course multiple times, and 200 times plus there is an increase, 200 folds better than the previous time here, right? So, like, a clear-cut comparison has been made with 2014 here, but yes, this is very, very important to remember. It clearly says that the capacity in 2014 was this, and of course in 2025 it is standing at 898 megawatt. Utilization patterns include traction power and non-traction users also, which is standing at 70% and 30% as well. When I specifically talk about non-traction application, this is all about station lighting, and service buildings, workshops, and railway quarters are also part of it, where it includes solar installation. 2626 railway stations has been, like, utilized here. Adoption of modern technologies is also part of it, which talks about cylindrical foundations. And here it clearly says replacement of conventional overhead electrification has been ensured. Reduction in the manual excavation has been ensured. lower labor intensity, faster projection execution is also part of it. Automatic wiring train is also here, which includes similar, simultaneous installation of catenary and contact wires, precision tension control, acceleration wiring process, and improved project timelines is also part of it. This is all about simplifying the process and nothing else, right? It all talks about what that is simplifying the process and nothing else. So remember it in that way only. Now this is just the historical background of the real electrification. As I told you like previously also, now this kind of direct question can be asked in the paper. They can ask you that in which year first electric train in India was actually brought. So 1925 was the time period where the route has been Bombay Victoria terminus only, Kurla Harbour, and route has been 1500 volt direct current, and electrified network at Independence included 388 route kilometers, and early shift towards a early, this energy efficient rail transport was also made, right? So it is not started recently only. Of course it has taken place in a pace, it has actually taken pace at this time, but this was started in 1925 itself. So first electric train in India was brought in 1925. So this is what is part of it. Okay, all right. Next news says that Niti Aayog has launched fifth edition of Trade Watch Quarterly. Now, when I talk about the Trade Watch here, na, try to consider Trade Watch as a as a kind of health services only, right? It's a kind of checkup system only which has been done here. So we are trying to check where our economy is actually going. This is the fifth edition of it, and it clearly talks about that where my health is actually going, as in where my economy is actually going. Niti Aayog keep on checking. Niti Aayog actually keeps on looking India's status, as in what we are buying, what we are selling, how much we are buying, how much we are selling. We are buying from home, we are selling to home. So these are the kind of things which are generally taken place. Now, when I talk about trade here, it actually includes goods, that is merchandise, services as well. So this is going to tell me the big picture of it only. This is all about quarter one of the financial year 26 here. This clearly says that it is about period quarter 1 April to June 25-26, and the objective is actually very crystal clear in nature. This is the exact data that we are getting. Okay, this is about the overall trade snapshots. So it clearly says that global trade in goods and services has been increased, that is by 2.5%, and India's total merchandise and services trade is standing at 439 billion US dollars. The drivers has been developing economies, that is rising over, that is south-south trade also. South-south cooperation is actually there. That is also one reason that the developing economies are actually becoming, like they're actually supporting each other. The constraints has been weak trade performance of the United States, which is impacting the global averages. And now this year, you people already know that the starting has been very, very worse. And of course, we are clearly seeing that, there is a lot of geopolitical tensions going on. And at the global perspective, there are a lot of tensions associated with the protection of the own economy only, right? So protecting our borders is actually more important in today's time. What has been the central theme here? That is, India's automotive, export sector. This is what is the central theme of this particular report. Along with that, this also says that we are doing better, at least in the services sector, right? It is actually emphasizing on that as well. So we'll be talking about the services sector, and of course here it actually talks about the automotive sector here, and then only we'll be going towards the services sector also. So automotive sector mein, this is the most important part of this particular news, right? So this clearly says that India wants to become the global factory for vehicles, which includes cars, bikes, and maybe several of the parts associated with it as well. Now, Niti Aayog clearly says that there is a sort of gap which is actually existing in the market, right? When I talk about this particular gap here, so world which spend the staggering of $2.2 trillion, right, on buying vehicles and maybe parts also, India currently only contribute 1.4% of that entire piece here. You call it pie here. We are actually having this slice only, which is 1.4% of slice only, right? Which is 30 billion US dollars. So this is a kind of huge gap which is existing. So we need to fulfill that particular gap as well, right? So now the problem that arises here, it clearly says that India specifically is great at making motorcycles. But when I talk about the world here, right, when I specifically talk about the world here, because we have to meet the needs as well. This can't happen that, if there's someone who's actually demanding for man-made fibers and we say that no, we are bringing availability of pure fibers only, and you need to accept that. This never happens in that way, right? I need to bring availability of those products only which are actually demanded also, right? So the core part here clearly sees that India is actually rich in motorcycles and making motorcycles. But in, when I talk about the world, it is demanding what that is to, India is actually like actively buying cars here. So I need to fulfill that particular gap. Now, when I specifically talk about cars here, it make up 71% of global demand, and actually India is the one which is missing out the target as well. How we are missing out the target? By not exporting them, and we are not actually able to meet the needs as well. So primary focus, again telling you, primary focus has been automotive export sectors only. Analytical coverage includes global demand trends, India's export presence across vehicles and auto, component, tariff structure, I told you, US kind of thing, and participation in the global value chain is also part of it. And this is what we are lacking here, right? What I told you, that the global automotive import share is 2.2, trillion dollars, where specifically talking about India is just contributing 1.4 percentage of that slice, and this is the entire pie, and this is what we are contributing, 1.4 percentage of slice only, right? This is very, very small in nature. And what is the total amount? That is 30 billion US dollars. And we need to fulfill this particular gap as well. So this is about the auto component segment here. So the global auto component market consists of US dollar 856 billion, and the growth trend has been 3% of compound annual growth rate since 2015. Remember, whenever we talk about compound annual growth rate here, since we are like considering a lot many years, it is actually very tough for us to like measure year on year growth, right? So this tells me about that only. Where I talk about India's auto component export, this is in 2025, this is standing at 8.2 billion US dollars, and recently 16.9 billion dollars also. So India's exports has actually achieved success here. Again telling you, global market share since 2015 has been 1%. India का जो export growth rate है, this is standing at 3.5% of CAGR. Global average growth is standing at 3.9% of CAGR. And when I talk about the global comparison here, so yes, this is marginally below the average, below the global average as well. So this is what is the segment wise demand as well as India shares also. This talks about passenger vehicle. जो डिमांड है वो ज़्यादा है, और जो हम एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं वो बहुत ज़्यादा कम है. एज आई टोल्ड यू अर्लियर एज वेल दैट ग्लोबल डिमांड इज ऑफ कार्स, बट वी आर contributing very, very less percentage of that. Share in global automotive demand is just 71%, and what we contributing here, that is just 1% only. We are actually able to meet the demand of motorcycle here, but like in cars I need to increase my pace, right? In cars availability I need to increase my pace here, that is 4 vehicle here. Okay, all right, so this is all about this particular news. Along with that, this also says that services sector is also doing better. Services sector is also growing. So trade growth has increased from 2 to 2.5%. Services trade, like it's a kind of robustness that we have seen here. India's export is just equivalent to US dollar 209 billion, and India imports 230 billion US dollars. Annual growth has been 3 to 4% for both exports as well as imports, and the combined trade deficit has been 21 billion. So it is all about the data only. Again telling you, direct question can be asked in the paper, right? They can ask you about these facts also, that what is the, like, according to this particular report, what is the set system here. So you can clearly see that in services sector is actually increasing, and we see growth in the services sector also. This is about the recommendation of the reports as well. It clearly says that although there are a lot many obstructions coming in between, but we need to overcome them, right? So this is all about this particular news. All right, so you people tell me, before I move ahead, you people please tell me, is everything clear to you people? Do you people have any doubt here? Do you people have any doubt here? Anyone having any doubt? Anyone having any doubt here? No one having any doubt? Okay. So next news clearly says that Simply Learn joins India AI mission to just accelerate the AI literacy. Now clearly telling you, when I talk about the Simply Learn here, it has actually joined India AI mission. Now India AI mission is one of the missions here which talks about what, bringing penetration, or specifically talks about penetrating AI in the economy, making people learn about that, right? But this is something else. Simply Learn has basically joined India AI mission to penetrate more in economy, just not by being dependent on how to read and maybe write. It is not at all focusing on giving you notes of AI, or maybe PDFs, big PDFs, but rather it is actually worth of teaching people how to use artificial intelligence here. That is the reason it is in news. And complete partnership has been done with Simply Learn and as well as India AI mission also. India AI mission in itself is actually working hard to bring people into AI, because this is something which is very futuristic in nature, and we do not want people to like lose their jobs, right? I want people like it is, it's a kind of structure only, it's a kind of technology only which is getting used everywhere. So we need to learn AI, we need to implement that into our work also, so that we can increase effectiveness. Along with that, efficiency should also be increased. Now it clearly says that Simply Learn has done this, and the project that has been launched here is Yuva AI for all. This is Yuva AI for all. It clearly means that I want to make young people learn AI, right? And this is one of the initiative which is for all. So again telling you, Yuva AI for all is something which has been launched here, right? It clearly says that we'll be providing you like AI training for free. So partnership between Simply Learn and India AI mission has been done. It talks about the purpose has been very crystal clear in nature, hosting and nationwide rollout of Yuva AI for all. The nature of the course is free foundational AI literacy program है, जहाँ पे हम क्या करेंगे, we'll be getting each and every associated knowledge about it. And this is about the collaboration here. The focus is widely on AI spread. The focus is actually on the literacy as well. This is Yuva AI for all. The type is actually very foundational in nature. So it's a foundational AI course. The course is all free of cost. You need not to pay even penny for that. The coverage has been very exclusive in nature. So it focuses on the basics of AI, understanding AI application and societal impact also. I need to see that how it actually impacts my society. Now AI is something which can be used for human development as well, right? Which can be used for human development also. Now when I'm writing here human development, this includes many parts, as in for the welfare of the like people here, right? Okay, so we'll be discussing about in the last of the video. Okay, all right. So this AI tells about what? That is human development here. It can be worked for the human development. It can bring betterment for the human development here. Because when I talk about AI here, you can use it in health. You can actually use it in education, right? You can actually use it in multiple ways. So it can bring easiness in your life. It can actually bring easiness in your life. That is what is the target that has been set here. It clearly says that 10 million citizens is the target beneficiaries. The approach is actually very democratization of the AI education here. Accessibility is actually nationwide. So I do not want to make it strict to like 1% of the population only, or maybe few people only. I want this technology, I want the services to be reached out to maximum people. So it's a nationwide coverage that is going to be done, to be done here. And this is about the key objective as well. Expansion of course reached through Simply Learn's digital infrastructure only, because this is all digital in nature. That is the reason I'm just saying that its coverage is actually very nationwide. Certification includes co-branded certification. It is getting issued by India AI mission, Simply Learns as well. And the name of the course is what? That is Yuva AI for all. And these are the roles here, right? So edtech expertise है जब मैं Simply Learn की बात करती हूँ, and it is all telling me about the content delivery and that to AI structures as well, right? So this is what is the significance of this particular news. All right. Next news says that Federal Bank unveils refreshed brand identity, the Fortuna, the Fortuna wave here, right? Now you can clearly see. So what is the focus here? Hi, Shraddha, very good evening. So what is the focus here is specifically on the logo and the use of it as well, right? So we'll be specifically focusing on this, like it's a kind of wave only, the Fortuna wave only. All right. So this clearly sees that when I talk about, the bank here, when I talk about this specific news is about Federal Bank only, which has made a kind of digital or modern digital makeover, right? It has done digital makeover here. Even though bank is nearly 100 years old, again telling you is nearly 100 years old, but it actually want to look very fresh, very young, right? That is the reason it, this change has been done here. So this clearly says, and we'll be talking about the Fortuna wave as well, right? So wave 1, wave 2 and maybe wave 3 also, because you people will be able to see these multiple waves here, right? Which talks about authenticity, togetherness as well as prosperity also. So, we will be talking about these waves only, right? 1 wave, 2 wave and maybe 3 wave also, right? So this is what is the focus here. So it clearly says there is a launch of refreshed brand identity, the Fortuna Wave, right? The institution has been Federal Bank Limited only. The nature is actually, the strategic brand refresh. Okay, so the strategic brand refresher, it is all about modernizing it, right? It is all about modernizing the entire structure here. It clearly says that although India is actually like federal bank, or when I specifically talk about this particular bank, it is going to be nearly 100 here, but it doesn't want to look old. It actually wants to look young only. So these are the key highlights of this particular news. You can just go through that later also, right? This is about the Fortuna Wave. Logo and insignia clearly talks about the central visual element, that is Fortuna Wave, right? You could have seen here only, right? कुछ ऐसे करके है ना, and these are the three waves element. What I told you, it actually emphasizes on authenticity, togetherness, as well as prosperity also. And when I talk about these three, it actually, the meaning in itself is actually very, very broader in nature, because what I told you, authenticity, prosperity, as well as togetherness also. Authenticity says what? That we are actually very honest in nature, you can trust us, we are trustworthy. And when I talk about togetherness here, it actually says that putting people and relationship first. We actually care about you, right? We actually care for our customers first, and then only we care about other things later. Prosperity is also part of it. Prosperity means what? That is growth, right? Like we wish everyone, we wish everyone prosperity here. So what does the prosperity mean? Like what does prosperity mean? Prosperity clearly means growth. So growth in their wealth is the main objective, or like is the main objective, is this, of specifically of these three elements here, of these three wave elements here. And this is the design philosophy as well. It has been shifted from the earlier boxed structure to the waves here, right? Which actually talks about adaptability, which all talks about digital platform, which all talks about strengthening the structure also. And if you're able to see these waves, it actually says that we are actually very flexible in nature, right? So it has been turned from being rigid to very flexible in nature. It talks about modern aesthetics as well. And this is about the visual features here. Dynamic wave motif, which includes fluid, rounded typeface for Federal Bank word mark, सिग्नेचर येलो अंडरलाइन रिटेन्ड है, वाइब्रेंट है, और थोड़ा मॉडर्न चीज़ों को जो है वो सिग्निफाई करता है, राइट? So this is what is actually part of it. This is very, very basic information about Federal Bank. You can clearly see that it has been incorporated in 1931. So directly they can ask you this question. Headquarters has been in Aluva, Kerala, and it is Indian private sector bank. And this is all about these many features here, right? So this is actually very, very static about it. All right. So now let's come on to the questions here. Which Indian private sector bank unveiled the refreshed brand entity, that is the Fortuna Wave, in January 2026? Is it HDFC Bank, Axis Bank, Federal Bank Limited, ICICI Bank, or Kotak Mahindra Bank? Perfect. C exactly is the correct answer of this question. Next question says, what is the name of the refreshed brand identity that has been launched by the Federal Bank? The Prosperity Curve, Federal Crest, Fortuna Wave, Trinity Wave, or the Golden Arc? Perfect, perfect. C exactly is the correct answer of this question. Very good. Next question says, when was Federal Bank incorporated? 1925, 31, 47, 56, or 69? When was it incorporated? Is it A, B, C, D, E? Perfect, perfect. Anyone else who would like to give answer of this question? Alright, perfect. So B exactly is the correct answer of this question. Alright. So now coming on to the Santosh Kumar's question here. So Santosh is asking, ma'am, I'm confused about how to cover government schemes, current affairs in PIB daily and RBI reports as well. Dekho, there are two methods of covering it, right? So like broadly, like I always recommend the first one, because when I talk about these coverages here, right? When I talk about these coverages here, देखो चाहे वो ESI है, चाहे वो finance है, which are core part of your syllabus, right? Of specifically of your syllabus here. And when I talk about your exam as well, along with that, this is just not important from the writing perspective only, and for two perspectives only, two phases perspective only. Along with that, this is important for interviews as well, right? So current affairs are actually very important. Current affairs are actually very important, although it seems to be very bitter in nature, but you need to consume them on a regular basis. And there are two types of students who actually consume or who actually goes with them on a monthly basis, and there are students who actually try to revise them on a daily basis also. I always go for this daily one. Why? Because when you try to revise it daily and when you go for monthly compilation, it is actually very easy for you to revise them. because all of a sudden you don't have 200, 300 types of question, and 304 100 type of maybe news. All of a sudden you need to like learn it, like you need to ratify it. You are actually sitting and just parroting these monthly current affairs. No, it never works, right? And it works for like maybe many individuals also, but I always prefer going for the like daily one only, right? Because when you revise daily, it actually simplifies the process for all of you. And when you revise them on a monthly basis, there would be hardly like maybe max to max 50 to 60 news only which you people could have left. Otherwise rest of the news will already be covered. So it's a kind of revision only that you do. So I always say कि जब भी रिपोर्ट्स आती हैं आरबीआई की तो आप साथ में पढ़ना शुरू कीजिए, ठीक है? उसके साथ साथ जो हमारा आरबीआई का वेबसाइट है, जो हमारे सर्कुलर्स आते हैं, उनको रेगुलर पढ़ना शुरू कीजिए. ओके, रेगुलरली पढ़ना शुरू कीजिए. बट उससे पहले क्या चाहिए? यू नीड टू कंप्लीट स्टैटिक पोर्शन. Not full, but at least 50% of it, right? It never happens that you complete full percentage of your syllabus here. It hardly happens, but at least 50% of syllabus should be there. And then accordingly you need to prepare. Then you need to prepare for the current affairs also, right? So this is what is actually part of it. And accordingly government schemes are the like is actually the key here, right? In ASI, when I talk about finance, when I talk about phase 2, even when I talk about phase 1 and phase 2 here, most of the part will be there from government schemes only. So try to revise them on a monthly or try to revise them on a regular basis also, right? For example, you are giving maybe 3 to 4 days to one ministry, and then next, and max to max, if you're a new year or like if you're targeting 2026, then give your 1 week to one ministry, right? Try to like bifurcate the target here, right? Try to split the target here and try to complete as much as possible, right? So splitting your target, it is exactly going to help you. So current affairs regular basis pe hi karo to badhiya hai. Otherwise you will feel like heaviness in your mind, right? You'll have a lot of data to cover, and along with that if static portion is also left, so you'll feel demotivated. I always say try to cover it on a regular basis so that it gets covered, right? Along with that, we are also here to help you, right? I take into consideration, I take care of CA, right? I take care of current affairs. If you're there in my static classes, if you've purchased any course for CA, then of course CSI is also sorted. I and Mannat ma'am take those classes. And if that is the case of finance or maybe like RBI circulars, it is taken care by Pratik sir, है ना? So like you can watch regular videos also, and can be like it can be covered on a regular basis as well, right? On a regular basis you keep 2 to 3 hours for like these 4 portions only, which is of course PIB news is super important, then GA super important, and along with that when I talk about the government schemes है super important, right? फिर उसके बाद budget और जो survey अभी आएगा वो भी बहुत ज़्यादा important है ना? उसके साथ साथ when I talk about the RBI circulars here, they are super important. So covering them on a regular basis is going to give you connectivity, and along with that, what benefit you are going to get if in case there is a news here, right? Maybe associate with one, maybe any for example PLFS report only, right? PLFS report only. Now this PLFS survey is important when you're actually going to prepare for the examination, right? So in near days it is actually very important because it gives you data about unemployment. So whenever you're going through this data, you people will be able to compile it with the static portion also. So it helps you in compilation as well, right? So I always say go for it, but on a regular basis. All right. Now tell me, do you have any doubt? Anyone has having any doubt left? Anyone is having any doubt? Anyone having any doubt? Otherwise, I'll be ending the session here only. Santosh, did you understand or still any doubt left? Got it? Okay. So like if you're the one who's preparing for 2026, then accordingly, like, you have time with yourself. You have time with yourself. You can give it time, right? And I would say that, give it time in such a way that actually helps you, right? It actually helps you. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि that you're sitting here and just doing rectification only. This should not happen. You try to do it in a very correct form So I think this is what I can recommend here. And accordingly, if you are not, or you're not familiar with it for say, right? If this is not working for you, then of course you can go for another mantra also, है ना? So it is actually very individualistic in nature. This is something which works for maximum individual. You try it. If it works, then well and good. If not, then you need to practice it, right? You try to find your own pace, like where you are actually feeling comfortable, where you're lacking, and accordingly you will be able to find solution of that. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for joining the session. Now I'll meet you on Monday only, because this is Friday. We don't have our sessions on Saturday and Sundays specifically of PIB. And now we'll be meeting on Monday, and that too with important kind of news. Thank you so much. Take care.